Friday. I'm Derrick Day, and he is.
I'm Aaron Tomlinson.
And we have a great topic, I think, tonight that's going to help a lot of people because uh, we often talk about character and we talk about reputation. And I think that we have kind of a bad habit of conflating the two, and they're very different. And it's important that you understand the difference because what your character is it influences your reputation, but your reputation can only influence your character if you allow it to. So with that being said, I'm not going to get into the subject yet. Aaron, tell us what you got in your glass tonight.
All right. So what I have in my glass is a tall glass of ice, and I thought about doing wine tonight, which I told you in the green
Yep.
room.
Uh-huh.
But I decided to go hard. So I've never tried this. So free advertising or not, depending on whether or not I like it. It's Red Dog salted caramel flavored whiskey. So I've never had this. So I'm opening it up, and we're gonna see how it goes down. How about you, Derek?
Well, I have red wine, but because since people have been calling me the devil all this week, uh, I have a bottle of the Velvet Devil Merlot, which is actually a very good Merlot. If you've never had it, I highly recommend it. Um, but yeah, I'm the devil.
So I just want to show that's all I took out of the bottle.
Is that
Just for
all?
people.
Oh, come
Just
on,
for
man, top
people.
that thing off.
Because I know, it's going to
Oh,
look
well,
like
yeah,
a lot.
okay.
I don't need to end up on any more prayer lists. I'm sorry.
I'm glad I hadn't taken it in when you said that.
That's for all the people that love me out there that watch this show.
Yeah, I know. It's like, somebody told me, they said, uh, I see that you've left the love of Jesus, and I'll pray for you. And I said, listen, if you pray for me against my will, you're practicing witchcraft. I said, so get on
Yeah.
your broom and fly away. That was my response. Here's the thing. I had tried to for a long time to handle people gently, but I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I, I just decided, I'm gonna dish it out as hard as I get it. So it's like if you want to come at me sideways, pack a fucking lunch. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you want me to share my thoughts on this, or shall I let you kick it off?
well, I'll just go ahead and what I already gave the subject, right? So go ahead and let's hear what you have to say first.
Yeah. 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 So I love I love the topic. It's a fun one for me because being a public figure, your reputation is maybe perhaps more important um, to your bottom line than maybe other professions, right? And the more exposure you have, the more important your reputation is to you. And so I do think reputation is important. I want to preface what I'm saying with this. I do think reputation is important. I do think image, optics, all that stuff matters.
Yep.
But I was thinking about this, and here's how I would differentiate the two. This is how I would separate the two: reputation versus character. And I got to thinking about reputation is more of a sociological construct. I'm not trying to get academic here, but it has to do with it has to do with how other people see and perceive you.
Yep.
So it's 100% in other people's minds. Your reputation is 100%. And you only have, you don't have any control over that. You do have some ability to influence that, particularly if you're mindful about it, right?
Yep.
Character, in my view, is 100% a psychological construct. And it has to do with your perception of yourself. Your reputation has to do with your relationship with others. Your character, in my view, has to do with your relationship with yourself.
Yep.
And how well you maintain living according to your core values, your authentic core values.
Yeah.
So my character is about how I perceive myself. My character is about how do I relate to internal feelings of guilt or shame. What keeps me in check? What do I have internally that sustains consistency in living my core values? Reputation is a whole other thing,
Yep.
because it entirely exists in other people's minds.
Yep.
And this is kind of a funny thing, Derrick, because if you think about it, I know you pretty well. We've been doing this a couple of years.
Yep.
We've been very open with each other. We've had lots and lots of conversations outside of this, on this program and outside of this program.
Yep.
But what I know of you is only what you've shown to me or told me, or same thing with you and me, right?
Yep.
So even that, I only know part of you.
Right.
I don't know the whole you, right? So, and we're close friends.
Yep.
Now, I've gotten to know Ducey a little bit. You've talked about other members of your family. Now, I only know them based on what you've chosen to share with me about them. But that can still allow me to form an opinion about them or have a view of them, right?
Yep.
Can't not do it. But now I know even less about them because I don't even know them directly.
Yeah.
I know even less about them than I know about you. But the information I have is what's going to govern my perception of those people in your life, right?
Yeah.
So I always try to keep that in mind. Not saying I do it perfectly, but I always try to keep that in mind, that what I know of a person is just a fragment of that person. And I'm forming a whole. I'm forming what psychologists call a gestalt. I'm forming a whole view and opinion of someone based on the information that I have, because that's all I have to go off of. So I only know a part, but I'm forming a whole. Do you see where I'm going with this? And then I can form an opinion about that whole. And then that contributes to what that person's reputation is in my eyes, right? So there are times when character and reputation can come into conflict, where I can have a reputation in other people's minds, and I know if I say or do something, I'm going to fracture, I'm going to change their opinion of who I am, but it may be consistent with my core values. Yeah. So I may be maintaining my character while damaging my reputation.
Yep. Which that is easy to do, because contrary to popular belief, these two are not closely coupled. They're very discrete and very distinct. And so, my definition of the two is very similar to yours, is that basically character is who you are. Reputation is what others think of you. And I like the way that you put that basically reputation is a societal construct, but character is a psychological one. And the one thing that I've seen this happen over and over again. I remember there was a girl in high school that she was horribly branded. She was considered to be a slut, whatever, right? She had a really mature body for high school, and she understood it, and she flaunted it, right? And so I got to know her after high school, and I found out that her reputation was totally unfounded. Basically, she got a reputation because she didn't give any of the boys in school any attention, and she had an older boyfriend. And so because of that, because these guys couldn't have her, they created an aura about her. They created a reputation for her that was totally undeserving. And and so when I think about this, like you were talking about being a public figure, and I've often been mindful of this because, you know, how people view me determines how many people watch our show or how many people consume other content
Right.
that I put out. But my character, and this is the thing, like, you know, you were talking about how we know each other and everything, and this is what I'll say is that I haven't seen the whole of you. You know, I haven't seen you in interaction with your kids or your wife.
Right.
I haven't seen you in the community. I see you in a very narrow lens. But what I do know about you tells me, it gives me enough data points
Mm.
about your character. So now I can look at you and I can say, okay, I know that, like let's say if someone accused you of lying.
Hmm.
Now, I happen to know that you are almost truthful to a fault. Now, that's what I know about you. That's part about what I know about your character, that your integrity matters to you. And so if someone tells me, well, Aaron Thomas lied about this, that, and the other, I'm going to be like, whoa, I know that that's, you know, I won't, nothing is impossible. You know, that's one thing that I've learned. You have to hold on to things loosely.
Right.
Nothing's impossible,
Right.
but it's highly unlikely, right? So, so the one thing that I do in dealing with people is I try to understand the person and not the persona.
Yeah, that's good.
Try to understand, you know, who they are internally, because there's another, you know, we're gonna, I'm sure we're getting to a lot of cliches tonight, but you know, character is who you are when no one's looking.
Right.
You know, when no one's looking, do you take the pencil? Do you steal the cookie? Do you pick up the dollar bill? What, you know, will you lie to protect yourself or anything like that? You know, these are the things that you know, that reflect your character. But this is something that I've learned. I know some people who have sterling reputations, and they are some of the shittiest people I know. And likewise, I know some people that have some really shitty reputations,
Right.
but they are some of the most wonderful people. And you know, and we you and I have both experienced this on social media, because you know, we'll run across somebody and we say, man, this guy's really the bomb. You know, I want to connect, I want to grow this relationship. But you know, when you start scratching the surface of the paint, you know, you find it's rusty underneath. You know, that it's corrupt underneath, and that's something that you always have to deal with. So I'm always like, I'm concerned with, you know, the person, and you know, I've raised my kids to be men of character. In other words, have integrity, say what you mean what you say, uh, be truthful and transparent in your relationships, be you know, truthful and upfront in your business dealings. All of these things, because these are the things that build your character. Now, I'm going to say one last thing, because I'm sure you heard this like back in your ministry days, because I heard this and I used to actually preach this, is that, you know, be careful of your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words. Be careful of your words, because your words become your actions. Be careful of your actions, because your actions become your habits. And be careful of your habits, because your habits become your character.
Yep.
Right. And so the thing is that there are some people out here, and I see this all the time, that they struggle with their character. They, you know, they don't really understand who they are. They don't understand their why, and they don't have a root. They don't have an anchor. They don't have a foundation. And what's funny is that some of these people say, well, my root, my anchor is God. That's kind of
Right.
nebulous, right? And when you find your root, anchor, or your grounding externally, you know, that's like a plant. I've got plants up here on my wine rack, and none of the roots are exposed.
Mhm.
The roots are all in the ground.
Mhm.
But I would be concerned if the roots began to creep out at the same velocity that the shoots did. So, you know, people are not really sure of who they are. And what happens is that a lot of folks will allow their reputation to dictate their character. And that's where I'll stop and swat it back over the net to you.
Yeah, I do like that saying about be careful of your thoughts. Thoughts become your words. Words become your actions. Actions become your habits. Habits become your character. Because character in and of itself doesn't really exist, because everything is a series of choices, and
Mhm.
there are a lot of influences that come in that um, influence the choices that we make, and we all make mistakes. So it's a funny thing when you start thinking about reputation, because you can have consistency in an area of your life, consistency in integrity, consistency in action in an area of your life, and then you can hit a perfect storm, which could be made up of anything: lack of sleep, stress, money influences, who knows, right? Who knows? And you're not able to maintain that consistent habit of, let's just take truth telling, for example. Like, I can't think of a real life example right now, but um, you mess up, you don't live according to your values. And then
Yep.
let's say that mistake is public, or that mistake becomes public. Now, all of a sudden, your reputation can be completely destroyed off of one mistake, especially in this culture that we live in today, right? Your
Yep.
reputation can become completely destroyed. And you may even have mechanisms in your character where you correct the mistake, where you clean up the mistake, where you own up to the mistake, and all these various different things. It's not necessarily going to repair your public image, not necessarily going to repair your reputation. So I used to, another cliche thing, if you take care of your character, your reputation will take care of itself.
Yep.
That's not always true
Not
either.
always true. Yep.
And so, it's really an interesting thing, this interplay with these things. But I will give you a personal example. I had a reputation as a man of God,
Man of
as
God.
as a Christian, as, I mean, really, Mr. Clean is what some of my friends used to call me, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
And when new information, so some of these things that were beyond my control, I wholeheartedly believed everything I preached, wholeheartedly did what I was doing with integrity, meaning I believe this, I'm acting congruent with my thoughts and beliefs and values. And then I got a bunch of different information. And then I had different experiences. And then I had different circumstances. And then I met different people. And so all these winds blowing
Mhm.
changed my psychology, changed the way I believed, about the Bible, the way I believed about people, the way I believed about sexuality, the way I believed about Jesus, all of
Mhm.
that, all my core foundations was like, oh my God. But my commitment to truth and authenticity, which was part of my character, right,
Yep. Mhm.
forced me to consider those things. You as well. I know we've talked about this a lot. Forced me to consider those things. And as a result of considering those things, I made changes to my belief system, changes to my behaviors. I would never sit down on a Friday night with bird dog.
Oh, how is it, by the way?
It's pretty good. I have to admit, it even smells good, but it definitely tastes like salted caramel. So if you like salted caramel flavor, man.
Yeah, I think I may go out and score a bottle of that tomorrow. But
Yeah. So now I have a choice. I realize if I like the person that people see while I'm going through this process is no longer the person behind the persona. And I realize this.
but wait a second. Is it? Is it different?
Let me nuance it. Let me nuance
Okay.
it. People see me as a man of God. I'm still leading a church. I'm still preaching on Sunday mornings, and my belief systems and my values have changed. But I haven't made that public yet because I'm weighing this whole, like, what does this mean for me, right? And I don't want to come out haphazardly one Sunday morning and say, well, gang, forget this business. I'm out while I'm still in the process. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's while I'm in that process, what I'm saying is the person that they see on Sunday morning and the person who's struggling with their faith and in this crisis of faith and getting this new information and working through this process, they don't match.
Yeah.
But there came a point where I became congruent with a new set of beliefs. I became congruent, fully satisfied. Like I'm fully satisfied that the Bible that people carry to church on Sunday is not the inerrant word of God and the final authority on faith and conduct and all things scientific and spiritual. No longer convinced that. There was a time when I was convinced of that. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm not going to just come out one Sunday while I'm still in this process and say, throw the Bible away and say, forget that stuff. Because that would be irresponsible, right? So again, that's character. But there came a point in time where my authenticity, my character, I had to choose what's more important to me, my reputation, my lifestyle, my profession, what others are going to think of me, or the authenticity of how I present myself and how I conduct myself. And I'll never forget the day I made the choice. I actually did it on social media. I actually went out on Facebook and just said, you know, da 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 da. And people that hadn't spoken to me in years, when I was going through crises, when I was going through difficult times, when I was having struggles, didn't hear from them. Acted like I had the plague. Mm-hmm. Now we're filling my inbox with, oh my God, brother, we're so concerned about your soul, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the firestorm was instant, right? So I had to make the choice. What's more important to me, my character or my reputation? And so in many circles, in my city specifically, mm-hmm. I don't have a great reputation. And I'm perfectly okay with that because I know that I'm authentically building my character. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. But I want to drill down deeper into what you're saying, because is there an association between your beliefs and your character? Mm-hmm. In other words, do beliefs influence character, or does character influence beliefs? And you know, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you to drill down and nuance that a little bit more, because I think that in what you were saying, I think that there's something more there.
I think the simple answer is yes. I think it's a dance. I think our beliefs certainly influence our character, and our character certainly influences our beliefs. And so in my own personal journey, like, I would like to say it was my character that I really want to be presenting people with what I believe is the truth when I'm presenting them with material that they're following, that they're taking seriously. Even if they're not following it, they're taking it seriously. And so when my view of the truth changed, a la my beliefs, then I think that core value kicked in that said, I need to be presenting the truth. I need to have integrity. I need what people see on the outside to match who I am on the inside. So therefore, I'm going to have to crucify the version of Aaron that people saw on the outside so that I could be born again.
Well, where's my organ? Where is my fucking organ when I need it?
With the more developed version of myself as a result of my studies and my experiences. How's that? Did I drill down?
That's good. Now this is what I'll say is that I've always been the kind of person that goes out of the way to help others, the kind of person that's kind to others, the kind of person that's gentle with others, the kind of person that's generous. That basically, I, without patting myself on the back, I'd say I'm your M1A1 good person, and I always have been. I was that. I was that when I was throat punched Derrick. Because it was like, hey, Derrick is going to love on you. He's going to look out for you. He's going to be on your side. He's going to have your back as long as you don't fuck with him.
Mm-hmm.
That was that. Now that was my reputation, but that also happened to be my character.
Right.
In that particular instance, the two were one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I got into ministry and everything, that same reputation followed me. And I believe that it followed me because that one thing where you were saying about take care of your character and your reputation will take care of itself. Well, that does happen. It's not a universal truth, right? But
Right.
it can happen. And so even now that I've left Christianity, I'm still the same person. And this is the thing that I had a really good conversation with one of my oldest friends, Inman Dexter, on Sunday, this past Sunday. And he had been in the hospital. He had a very life-threatening situation, but he's come out of it. And he and Leon Mims are my two oldest friends. I've known these guys 58 years. And we've and it hasn't been off and on. It's been 58 years of consistent, constant relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so people have come to Inman and said, man, what's up with your boy? He's become an atheist. He was a pastor, he's a preacher, he's a bishop, and now all of a sudden he's an atheist. And they're asking Inman, and Inman said, look, don't ask me, ask Derrick. But what Inman said to me was just so profound. He said, I've always known you to be this way. I've always known you to be kind. I've known you to be considerate. I've known you to be polite. I've known you to be generous. I've known you to be loyal, right? And he said, that's who you are.
Mm.
He said, so what you believe, he said, in my mind, doesn't influence who I see you as.
Wow, that's great.
And what people's thoughts of you. Now watch this, right? Because see, here's the thing: when you're transparent with people, and you build a relationship. So this is like again, to use you and I as an example. We've known each other about 4 or 5 years, been working together constantly for the last 2 years, and talking a lot. I mean, talking constantly for the last 2 years. Now, there are things that you know about me, right? And you would know that if I said or did something that was outside my character, you would know that. And this is the other thing too about I used to say this when I was preaching too. I said you have to have people in your life who know you, KNOW, and then you have to have people who know NOU, right? That people who will step in and check you when you're fucking up. Right. So you're one of those guys. You're one of those people that I trust to pour into my life like that. Now, the thing is that if somewhere along the line, what had been established over the 60 years of my life that had that dovetailed or culminated in my character, if somehow I veered from that, I would say that I could count on you to check me on that, to say something about that, because you've known me long enough to know what my character is like. Just like how my friend Inman Dexter, he checked people who were coming at him saying negative things about me. He said, look, if you want to know about Derrick, don't ask me, ask him. You know him, you ask him. But he said, from what I can see, that your beliefs in no ways impact your character. And so that's what I was getting at. So like the thing is that who you were as Aaron, as your character, as a man of integrity, as a man of honesty, as a man of generosity, as a man of gentleness, as a man of love, that irrespective of what you believe, that part of you hasn't changed. And so here's the thing, like we've been doing Freology together for the last 2 years, and you and I both in our beliefs have there's been a lot of fluidity, there's been a lot of change, a lot of growth. But the one thing that I know, and I know that I know, is that you're the same guy that you were at the beginning. Beliefs change. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with you that beliefs certainly can influence or inform character, right? But I don't think that they determine it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, right, you know, all those things that your friend said about you is how I know you to be as well.
Yeah.
But I would venture to guess your beliefs influence those choices that you make, to be loyal, to be generous, to be gentle, to go out of your way to help other people. There's a set of beliefs behind that.
Can I say something real quick? Can I step in and say something? Because
Yeah.
I think that there's two different kinds of beliefs, right?
Yeah.
There's beliefs which are how can I say it? They're temporal, that they're fluid, that they're subject to change. And then I think you have meta beliefs. And these meta beliefs are beliefs about beliefs, right? So in other words, there's a higher thought process that governs the beliefs. The beliefs are a lower thought process.
Yeah, that's really well put, really well stated. So let me change the course of the conversation here a little bit, because I know there are people who get uncomfortable when someone starts talking about character. Now, they may get uncomfortable because they have character flaws, or they may get uncomfortable because they have a negative self-image and they have a hard time. Now, again, I work with people like this all day long.
Hang on, let me stop you real quick.
Sure.
Tell me the difference between a character flaw and a character in idiosyncrasy.
Oh gosh, I don't know, Derrick. I'm saying like somebody who consistently lies. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so that would be a character flaw. Because
go ahead.
That's a fault of integrity.
Right. Yeah, and
that's a violation of a core value.
Right.
That's generally agreed upon.
Right.
You keep going.
Right, and it's a pattern. It's not a perfect storm where I messed up, or But let's take someone who repeatedly lies. Now, there can be a lot of reasons that someone does that. Oftentimes, a person, let me just give you an example, a person who grows up in a family system where deception is tied to safety. And so they grow up learning that it's safer to tell the lie than to tell the truth, because they're growing up in an abusive, toxic family system, right? So this person has developed a lifelong pattern of consistently telling lies to get out of trouble, consistently telling lies to be liked by other people, to get their needs, their emotional needs met. And they're hearing us talk about this, right?
Yeah.
And so they know I've got this character flaw. So the first part of the conversation is, how do we help people who have character flaws correct something that's become a lifelong pattern or habit in their life? But then the second part of the conversation is, there are some people who are good as gold on the inside, genuinely good people, but they've been so beat up by life that for whatever reason, they don't have a healthy sense of self or a healthy sense of self-esteem. So they can't believe positive things about themselves. I mean, I know people that they can't take any criticism because it damages their self-esteem to think that they may not be the superhero that they put out for everybody. They've conflated their reputation and their character. But I also know people who, so the criticism just slides off of them. But I also know people that compliments will slide off of them, and criticism, like one
Mm,
word of criticism, will go straight to the heart, and they'll fixate on the criticism and they'll
mm,
forget about all the compliments. And so when those people are hearing us talk about character, they can also perhaps be feeling a sense of uncomfortableness, if that's a word,
yep,
discomfort,
yep.
um, with the conversation. And so I'm just wondering, how do we speak to and address those two different groups of people? What do you think?
No, that's really good because I, I think that you were talking about character flaws versus we're talking about character flaws versus character idiosyncrasies, right? And
Right.
I think that's a definite character flaw when you internalize the criticism, but you reject or you slide off the compliment.
Yeah.
And I think that here, this is the thing. I think that part of character is shaping yourself in such a way that you can receive praise, that you can receive a compliment. And I think that to me, that's a hallmark of someone with good character, because it's like when people are constantly self-deprecating, or self-abasing, I'm skeptical of that. I remember there was a pastor I met, and he pastored a very large church, and people would say all kinds of wonderful things about him, and he would just, no, I'm not that guy. No, I'm just a lowly servant and all of that. And I used to sit up and think about this, and I said, no, I'm like, dude, you're a fucking awesome guy. you know all of this, false humility, self-deprecation, self-abasement, that's, so I think that when we talk about character, that for people who are listening, who are struggling with issues of character, because and you're making a really good point here, Aaron, because there are people out here that they will say to themselves, I'm not worthy. And so what happens, when you say take care of your character, because and your reputation will take care of itself. So when you say I'm not worthy, I'm no good, I'm not the guy, I'm just a wretch, I'm just a worm, right? Then what happens is that now you develop an expectancy of what your reputation will be based on what you see your character as, even though that may not be your character.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that I think that a lot of times people will manifest opinions, beliefs, or understanding in others by projection.
Yes.
They project out this bullshit view of themselves, and so sooner or later that projection has got to lead to a manifestation. And so
Yeah.
now you begin to manifest the
Yeah.
shit that people are saying, or what well, no, you're manifesting people to say about you what you believe about yourself. But the
Yes.
flip side of it is the flip side of it is that if you are rooted and grounded in yourself, if you and I tell people this all the time, love is empathy and compassion at its most elemental, right? So that means that when you love someone, in order to say that you love someone, you have to have empathy and compassion for people. That's why I always trip out on Christians when they say, well, God tells me to love everybody, so I just love on everybody, but you have no empathy and compassion for anybody. So do you love? No, you don't love, you're lying. And then if you walk that back even further, if they don't have empathy and compassion for others, you will probably find that they have no empathy or compassion for themselves, right? So now self-love is impossible. And so because you don't love yourself, you're expecting that others don't love you. You're projecting your lack of empathy and compassion, and people are manifesting that back to you. And so you're now you're building you're building a loop of
Exactly.
of character misidentity that leads to reputation assassination,
Oh,
and
man.
it just keeps
Say
going
that for the people in the back.
What's that?
I don't know if you can say that again, but say that for the people in the back.
I can actually
You
say it
said that
again.
really well.
That when you have this this reputation inconsistency, or this reputation deficiency, that is going to lead to or no, if you have a character deficiency, or it'll lead to a reputational assassination. That's
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
I love that. That could be on a plaque somewhere.
Man, that's amazing that I can even say that with after 2 glasses of wine. Who says you lose brain cells after 60 or after 50?
Right. Okay, so I want to do it. Can I do a thought experiment?
Dude, absolutely. I love
Okay,
thought experiments.
I'm gonna read you a list of core values from a religion and a church. All right, and I just want to. I'm just curious. Now, try to set aside that I said that.
Yeah.
And just try to honestly answer how much of this you agree with. So these are like core values, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we represent the light of intellect, wisdom, and power, unique to the individual, with the courage to ascend to this responsibility.
Agreed.
We believe in self-liberation and a spiritual rebel who inspires to self-evolution.
Yeah, you're on a roll, 2 for 2.
I'm going to skip that one. That'll give it away. We believe in the spark of consciousness which questions everything, manifesting the individualistic path with accountability to the self.
Agreed.
Meaning, all right.
Wait a minute. Hold on. This is either Michael Beckwith's church, or this is the Church of Scientology. All right. Keep going.
We believe in the liberation of the mind from the slave mentality, and the courage to explore and master the darkness within. One may not offer the illumination of light without the wisdom of the darkness within. Fancy way of saying we believe in doing shadow work.
Yeah, I agree.
We believe in rebellion with a purpose, combined with wisdom, strength, and power.
Fuck yeah.
We represent the courage and fortitude to acquire healthy self-love, leading to the responsibility of honoring your temple of mind, body, and spirit.
Yep, that's another one. Fuck, where do I sign up for this religion?
I'm just going to say that.
I'm anti-religious, but I'm kind of into this one.
We believe that you must have wisdom and strength to govern and guide your life as if your mind is to survive beyond the mortal body.
Yep.
We believe
Tommy Stewart just stepped in. I think he gave it away, but keep going. Keep going.
We believe in indulgence with restraint. Now, this is which indulgence with restraint would be.
I don't know. I'm completely on board with that too.
Let's see. We represent the insight that every act, no matter if perceived as selfless, now you may not agree with this one, perceived as selfless, is at its core a selfish act. Even if helping others is your passion, The brain still receives a chemical reward triggered by the act. Therefore, many consider that doing good deeds in society may bring you closer to God. Recognize you are selfish, then see this fact in others while observing. Accept this, and then this knowledge. Accept this, then with this knowledge, make choices that would benefit not only yourself, but your loved ones when possible.
Mostly agree.
Yeah, pretty nuanced.
Yep.
And we believe that you possess the power to create and sustain your path in life and illuminate the light of self-determined potential.
Yep, absolutely.
So that comes from Michael W. Ford, who leads a Luciferian church.
Yeah, you know, Tommy Stewart said this. He said, "Holy shit, Derrick's a Satanist."
Yeah, it's not the Church of Satan, but it's a branch of Luciferianism.
Yeah, but now, you know, here's the funny thing about that. I just got to throw this out here because only Christians believe in a literal Satan.
Right.
Right. I think that even in Islam, I think Satan is like a metaphor. Right. And I think this is so funny. I just got to throw this out here because there are so many Christians that they say that in order to be a good Christian, you got to believe in Satan. I'm like, okay, which is it? Are you Christians or are you Satanists? But anyway,
yeah,
I just had to get that out.
I'm bringing this out in this episode because for most people, Satanists or Luciferians have a certain reputation.
Yep.
But when you dig into the philosophies behind it, like when I first read this book by Michael W. Ford, I had the typical Luciferian reputation, child sacrifice, you know, hell, I don't know, sexual orgies, indulgences, you get it, right? Like this evil perception, reputation. And the more I dug into this book, the more I realized, holy fuck, like this is describing everything. This is describing almost everything that I believe and everything that I stand for. And I began to see that there were some guiding principles and some integrity and real character, like this spiritual path for these people was about self-mastery and about making the highest contribution to yourself and society that you could by what Michael W. Ford calls apotheosis, by which means to become a god.
Yep.
But again, reputation doesn't match when you go behind the covers. People's perception, governed by the church, it's governed by media, governed by movies, whatever. But when you take time to look under the hood, you discover, holy shit, I'm a Luciferian. Okay, I just said it. All right. Okay. God damn it. I just got on somebody's prayer list.
You know, I forget what this, there was some kind of religious paradigm that a lot of the people who were involved in the space age were tied into. And I can't remember what this philosophy was.
Are you talking about Thelema and Jack Parsons?
Yeah, exactly. Thelema.
Yeah.
And so people associated Thelema with Satanism,
right?
You know, because like I think the common denominator between Satanism and the Thelema was Anton LaVey.
Yeah.
You know, so and I remember like when I was first
Derrick. One second. It's Aleister Crowley. So Anton LaVey was influenced by Aleister Crowley because Thelema predates Satanism by about 4 or 5 decades.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, but you know, when I used to do talk radio and I was a very conservative host.
Yeah,
I used to talk about this, you know, all of these things that are basically, you know, gateways to to worshiping the devil kind of thing. And so now fast forward to where I am now, where I know that there is no literal devil, right? And that the only people who believe in a literal devil are people who believe in a God that doesn't exist either. You know, so it's but it's funny. I got to tell you about this. There was a meme that I saw on Facebook. I think it was yesterday, where it said that, like, it was in an atheist forum, and it said some lady had a picture of a blender with a baby in it,
Ooh.
right? And yeah, and so the caption said, "I have a question. Do I put the baby in first or the fruit?"
Oh God.
You
Oh
know,
my.
because that's the Christian view of
Yes.
atheists, that they eat babies,
Yes.
right? So this person is poking fun at at the Christian view, poking fun at the reputation that's developed, right?
Right.
And so I just thought that was, I thought that was hilarious. You know, you put the baby in first or the fruit. I mean, it's awful, but again, you know, when you talk about like character versus reputation, because it's the reputation of Satanists, of Luciferians, of Wiccans, right? Is that this is something that's inherently evil, and that they're worshiping or serving something dark, right?
Right.
But that's the reputation. But
Right.
when you go back and look at the character, and Ben Urban is on here, and I've said this, you said this, that Beth Urban completely changed my whole viewpoint
Right.
on
Right.
Wicca and
Right.
witches and witchcraft. And this, I mean, I had to really uh, uh, shake some shit off
Yeah.
in order
Right.
to understand this, because I'm like, okay, you know, Ben and Beth are two of the most awesome people that I know. But for her to be in this, and to be as vocal as she is about it, I said, okay, there has to be something there. And so it caused me to dig deeper. It caused me to do some searching. And and again, what I found is, let me say this. Years ago, I had a lady that worked for me, and her name was Carolyn. I don't
Mhm.
remember what Carolyn's last name is, but I do remember her first name. And I also remember that she kind of had a confluence between Satanism and Wicca. That's where she was spiritually. And I was this, you know, quote unquote born again Christian,
Mhm.
conservative Republican. And so I'll be honest, I tried to do everything I could to make her uncomfortable at work. I was a shitty boss, but
Yeah.
you know what she did? She kept being excellent. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, God, you know, I hate what she believes, but fuck, she's so fucking good at what she does.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, it reminds me when I got into my master's program for counseling, I was still pastoring and I was still drinking the Kool-Aid. And so my first assignment in my first class with my first teacher in graduate school was pick we were talking about prejudice and bigotry and how that could influence your ability to counsel people.
Yep.
And so they were inviting you to do some introspection to say, you know, who would you find a difficult group of people to counsel? And they're doing it from this multicultural perspective. Now, I'd already traveled the world, and I could not honestly sit down and say I would have trouble counseling a person of color, regardless of the nationality, where they came from. Doesn't matter whether they were black, red, yellow, brown, didn't matter. Um, I didn't have that filter. It wasn't going to influence me. I wasn't going to approach people differently because of the color of their skin. And of course, you can't say that, because if you say that, then you're just a white guy that's in denial that you have any issues that you have to deal with. But I honestly, upon introspection, I couldn't see that in myself. So I said the group that I would have a hard time counseling would be doing marriage counseling with a gay couple.
Mm.
And so I wrote this whole thing about, my issue is with, because of my beliefs and yada, yada, yada. I thought I did a great paper, turned it in. Well, what I did not know at the time is that my professor was a woman who was married to another woman, and they had adopted a child. Now, keep in mind, this was before gay marriage was a thing.
Yeah.
This was long before the laws were changed or whatever. So it's the same kind of thing. And then I found out, like, in the next class, after I turned the paper in, right? So first class, get that assignment. Next class, I turn the paper in, and then I find out that she's a lesbian married to a woman. And I'm like, Derrick, I was like, I wanted that paper back so bad, brother. I was just like, damn it, why didn't I say child molesters or something? Or wife beaters, which are two groups I still can't counsel today. I just can't. But I wanted to reel that sucker in. But she had this, similar response in that she was I thought she was going to be, I thought, God, I screwed myself in this program of my grade and all that stuff because I was projecting my view. So now we're back to reputation and character and my sociological view, my view given to me by the society that I was a part of, which was the evangelical church, was that this person had no morals. So therefore they were going to mistreat me. They weren't going to be fair to me. They were going to be prejudiced against me. The whole trope, right?
Yep.
She was so wonderful to me. It was almost like she went out of her way to teach me in that class, hey, we are people too. And I'm ashamed to admit that I thought that way back then, but I was from a different generation. I'm not going to go John Gruden on you.
Listen, I'm the absolute same way. It's like I used to preach this horrible narrative of God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and so now I look back on that and I say, God, what? I was really a horrible person.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, like, we talk about character versus reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen how some, like, let me deal with another person that I know personally, and this is a Facebook friend. I've never met him in real life, but I have an extensive relationship with him, and the guy's name is Romel Parks Weekly, and Romel is a pastor who happens to be gay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the funny thing about Romel. Romel is Orthodox. I mean, he believes in the inerrancy of Scripture, but he says that all of it has been misinterpreted. And so when he came out as being gay, it was like there were so many other pastors that tried to malign his reputation. They tried to tear him down, but his character was so strong, so intact, that all of the attacks on him, they failed. Mm-hmm. And now as a result, he's considered to be a theological giant. As a matter of fact, when I was doing the Heretic Happy Hour, we had him on as a guest. Cool. Because he's absolutely, I mean, his and like, I have no use for the Bible, no use for Scripture, none of that anymore. But his knowledge of it is so fucking intense. And so all of the things that have been tried as tools or means of destroying his reputation failed. And here's this is the other thing too. This is what I'll say about this: that you, Kyle Butler, Lynn Bennett, Tony Calloway, I could just name names that people who have such powerful, rooted, grounded character, that no attack on their reputation would ever prevail. It's like literally the biblical "no weapon that formed against me shall prosper" thing.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I'm really amazed about, and here's the funny thing, is that this works. I mean, it certainly works for Christians, but it works for it works for non-Christians, but it works for Christians as well. And one of the funny ones is okay. So Joel Osteen,
right?
this is a guy that people try to tear down on a regular basis, Christians and non-Christians, right? But somehow there's something about his character that supersedes that. So check this out, man. We got somebody in the green room who doesn't like me.
All right.
Who disagrees with me.
All right.
And I'm sure that he's gonna come on and talk some shit, but I'm gonna let him in.
All right.
I'm gonna let him in.
Let's do it.
And but understand this, Otangelo, welcome aboard.
Yes,
I'm just gonna say this that the dump button, I control it. So I know that you've chimed in on previous conversations, but because I believe in the interest of fairness that everybody should have a voice, here's your moment. Use it carefully.
Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me well, or is my voice?
I can hear you. You might want to speak up a little bit.
Let me just interject. How do you say your name and where are you from? Oh,
my name is Otangelo. I am Swiss Italian.
Okay.
Hey, we can't see you now. Your picture is gone. Your face is
turn
gone.
Your camera off, Otangelo.
Yeah. Turn off your OBS and turn on your computer camera.
Come on, Otangelo. We want to hear from you. Maybe.
Yeah, he's I think he's trying to sort it out. But I was looking at his comments as we're going, and he's commented before. He's been in the comment sections before. But because I'm not a complete dick out.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great to have different voices. I didn't see the comment, by the way.
Yep.
Otangelo, I think we lost you, buddy.
No, he's still there. It's like this. He's using OBS, which is Open Broadcast Studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he just dropped out for real.
You didn't kick him out, did you?
Nope, I didn't. I swear, my hands have been on my wine and my,
I'm joking. I'm teasing you, brother. So my kids just got home with 2 guinea pigs that they're dying to show me.
Oh boy.
So let's run through the comments real quick, unless
okay, let's do
back and call it good. Is that all right?
Yep. So I want to call out Tommy Stewart. Tommy is a cancer survivor, and he says here, I got my non-alcoholic beer thanks to his I guess his immunotherapy. Ben Urban says, all hail the Prince of Wokeness. Otangelo is back in.
Oh, okay. Let's talk to Otangelo.
All right. He's got his ears on now.
Yeah, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't remember previous interactions, but I don't think that you guys eat babies.
Don't think we what?
He doesn't think we eat babies. Thank you, Otangelo. It's very kind.
Yeah, I'm glad that you think that, because I've tried babies and I think they taste terrible.
Yeah, I can imagine. So at least you know, right?
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't know. I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
So what is it that you would like to share in the light of this discussion tonight, Otangelo?
Well, my challenge is always the same to atheists: how you explain our existence without a creator. That is my standard question.
You know what? I'm glad you asked that, because I actually have an answer. There's this thing called the law of conservation, and the law of conservation says that energy is neither created nor destroyed. That means that all the energy there is all the energy that's ever been, Energy is neither created nor destroyed, but it's had billions of years to aggregate and make some sentient decisions about what it wants to be. And so some energy decides that it wants to be life, and some energy decides that it wants to be sofas. I don't know. That's my theory, but I think that works a lot better than some magic sky daddy creating everything.
So energy makes conscious decisions?
That I believe that energy is conscious, and there's some proof to that. Um, John Clerk Maxwell had a theory back in the 1800s that basically energy made decisions about information, and that was one of the forerunners of quantum physics. So that if energy can make decisions about how energy is transferred, how entropy happens, and things like that, then that means that the energy itself has to have some sentience. And I believe the sentient energy is what produces what we call consciousness, what we call life, what we call creation. That if something that is pure energy has billions of years to figure it out, that it'll figure it out.
So, and the energy that you're talking about is just subdued to the first but not the second law of thermodynamics?
No, I mean, basically, all of the laws of thermodynamics, all of the laws of physics, the energy adheres to those laws, and they can be mathematically modeled. See, here's the thing. What my challenge to you is there a way to mathematically model a God?
No,
Is
so let me make that following question then. If all the laws of thermodynamics are in place and energy has never been created, that means that it has always existed. But
correct?
if the second law is in charge, then we should already be in a state of heat death.
No, I mean, basically, what the second law proffers is that things move from order to chaos, and that's why things happen like metal rust. You're not ever going to go from chaos to order.
Right. So shouldn't we already be in a state of maximum entropy and disorder? Since you are claiming that,
No, I wouldn't say maximum. I wouldn't say maximum entropy. No, I don't think that we've reached that point yet.
but
But
how do you reach this present moment in time if you don't have a starting point? If energy has eternally existed, it is the same as to say that you arrive at the surface of a hole from which is endlessly deep. How can
okay,
you?
let me stop you for one quick second, right? Because one of the things that we do on the show here is that we bring guests on to talk about what is topical. In other words, what is the subject of the subject du jour, right? So in this particular case, you want to ask a more nuanced question about creation and about origins, which that's not actually germane to the discussion.
Okay.
So my challenge to you would be, if you've been paying attention to the show and listening to the discussion that's been taking place so far, what is your contribution to that? Now,
I just joined. I've not listened to the conversation. So
okay, all right. So fair enough. So in other words, what you want to do is you want to try to redirect the conversation
no,
into.
I absolutely, I have no intentions to derail the conversations of you guys. So I am fine to leave, and you guys can continue what you were talking about. So it's not my intention at all to.
Cool, man. Thanks for joining.
Otangelo, before you go, I'm not officially an atheist, by the way. I find the topic of origins a little bit above my pay grade and a little bit speculative. But and I'm not an atheist, but one of the compelling arguments or things that I've wrestled with atheism has been, one argument that I've heard is that the universe has always existed. I mean, forget energy, and I know everything's energy, but again, that's above my pay grade. So I'm going to stay in my lane. But because the argument is, well, how did the universe get here? Well, the universe has always existed. And that made sense to me when I was in the box of my evangelical Christianity. But then I realized, if an atheist says to me, the universe has always existed, it's no different in an argument than if I say God has always existed. You still have a problem of origin. So you can't say, well, the universe was here, it had to be created by somebody, and then say, well, God always was, because if you use the same argument, then God had to be created by somebody as well. So I don't know. I just find those arguments, before we let you go on, and know it's off topic, but I just find those arguments really speculative and sticky. And it's interesting to me how in other conversations that I've heard between atheists and non-atheists, or theists and atheists, or Christians and atheists, they're basically using the same logic, just applying it to a different criteria or a different context or content. Universe always was. Universe is infinite, therefore it removes any statistical probabilities, because there's an infinite amount of things that can happen. So therefore, everything has happened.
But Aaron, to your point, that can be mathematically modeled. See, that's
yeah. I think I disagree with you here, because when I am talking about an eternal God, that God exists beyond the physical universe in a timeless realm, while the universe obligatedly, because there is change, needs to exist in time. And in order for you to arrive at B, and let's suppose that B is this present moment in time, you need A. If you remove A, then you cannot arrive at B. That is the problem which I have with an eternal universe.
Okay. Well, thank you for jumping on. Appreciate it. Thank you for being very, very respectful.
I just sent a text. I said order some Wingstop, but okay.
Thank you for watching. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for participating.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's above my pay grade. I got to go check out some guinea pigs.
Cool, man.
I have to respond to an email too. So
yeah,
I'm bail, man.
Anthony just brought me in some pork belly.
All right.
so that's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm about to,
guinea pig, pork belly.
Yeah.
I think there's a synchronicity here.
Oh man, the synchronicity, serendipity. It's like it's all there, man. It's all there, man.
All right, man. Peace and hair grease. I'm out. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Love you, Derrick.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Later, bro.